is James Martinez for another very special edition of Cash Flow today on 1/11/11. This is real. It is documented. It is in the federal court system. James Walbert has the first federal case. It's in court regarding the implantation of an RFID chip into his body. My other guest, Bob Boyce, just had a device removed from him. These guys are not hallucinating. This is going on and is totally real. And this is signed from Jim Guest, State Representative, 5th District from Missouri House of Representatives. I've been acquainted with Mr. James Walbert for over 3 years and his personal struggle to get relief from the continuing electronic harassment, physical abuse, and intimidation he is subjected to. There is a sound medical evidence and medical evaluation to verify that an implanted device does exist in the body of Mr. Walbert. Dr. John Hall, who is experienced in reading MRIs, has confirmed that a foreign body and most like a microchip is present in his body. Has also been confirmed by Dr. Hildur Staninger, industrial toxicologist of the Integrative Health Systems, LLC. This has also been confirmed by William Taylor, a recognized expert in the field of technical surveillance and countermeasures.
I had taken 31 blood tests, and I've had all those done. I have all the results here. I have a 450-page report. Basically substantiates what I'm saying.
5? There's 5 of them in there? Wow. So you see the pictures, you see the test results, right?
This person placed these in my ears. All these implants are from my neck up. So they're in my neck. They're next to glandular areas or endocrine systems that can be hyperstimulated as well as in both ears. So it's making a neurological access. You know, who's ever doing it had a plan, had prior experience, and knows what they're doing.
So this is the first case in the courts in U.S. history of something like this. Am I correct?
Yes. Nobody has ever been able to substantiate and prove electronic stalking or electronic harassment.
You know, a lot of folks out there, this may have happened to them. They may be targeted individuals, but they don't have all the backing, all of the toxicological evaluations, all the hematological reports.
Having nervous system stimulations and like neural disruptions, I shake really bad. It'll heat up, it'll blister. At least I don't see anything that's comparable to other victims, you know, daily, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It doesn't stop. Being stalked on my job, I lost my job because I was being stalked. I woke up, I had blood all in my mouth. It was all down in my ears. It was a sloppy job, whoever did it. Call and make up lies. They will propagate situations that aren't real. They will take measures that are indicative to like gaslighting or gang stalking. It seems that no matter how much evidence I present to people, they absolutely refuse to do their job. I presented everything to the police department. They have done nothing but ridicule me, reject me, make comments that are just completely ridiculous. They have done nothing about it at all. I was able to substantiate and prove my case in front of a judge. Twice I had to go through 2 judges to make sure that this protection order got issued, and they still did nothing. They came out to my house and made fun of me. And this guy's supervisor came out and made his punishment was to sit out in front of the apartment complex all night long, basically poking fun at me.
Him calling me, asking me, you know, what I was doing with James. Didn't I know he was off, or basically not.
One of the countermeasures, you sleep in a copper cage.
He has no, financial support, which is part of the problem, part of the course of being harassed, is to put him under, basically.
The playing field in your whole life has been completely changed, and your perception of life, your value of life, all of those things have changed now.
He approached me and started telling me that he was going to start stalking me with this equipment, that he had done this to people before and got away with it, and he was, there's no chance that he's going to get caught because no one will believe me, and so this guy has had this, execution of his crime down pat. He's had prior knowledge as well as prior, experience. I mean, obviously they placed implants in my body with intentions. Neuroprosthetic implants in my ears. These things are designed to alter and stimulate my nervous system. So, whoever done this, had prior knowledge to doing it. I would have never suspected this guy.
James, when you go to the courthouse, are there reporters there?
No, actually.
Nobody even shows up, huh? Has local media, television, will they touch this story?
No, they won't.
This is too scary for people.
They had discussed removal, and then all of a sudden, they weren't willing to work on it anymore.
Concerned about threats. Very fearful to get involved for fear that they would shut down his facility or they would have some type of financial backlash.
I handed him the x-rays, and he looked at it, and then he handed them back and told me point blank, that's a government chip. I will not take it out, and I don't think you'll find another doctor in the U.S. that will take it out.
With my case being posted, we have now experienced 20 states that have passed these laws. 17 of them have been emergency laws. And several investigators I spoke with feel that these people are now making moves at the legislative level to protect themselves. Are there are a lot more victims out there that actually don't know that they're victims. Why did they pass these laws and under emergency conditions? And these laws,
and so fast, and nobody heard anything about it. We can pass all these laws, and we can do them real fast in front of you, but the fact that you need a doctor to help you, that's not an emergency. And, I don't even want to do anything. I don't want to get anyone near that. It's pathetic to me. The whole thing is pathetic, and there's some people behind this. There's going to be a big showdown.
I was able to track that it was from Verichip based on his RFID signature, and now that we actually have physical possession of the chip, I believe it was Raytheon Corporation actually makes them for Verichip. And I had picked up EMF radiation from my shoulder using an EMF meter. We have not been able to find this chip in the public database, which means that must be within the lot of chips sold to the government, namely NSA buys these in bulk lots, and we don't have access to the NSA database, obviously, to verify who this was issued to in order to implant me.
Verichip is now referred to as positive ID or PSID.
Positive ID.
I can't imagine why. Has veered off the track of normalities with this particular type of the controversial subject of being implanted and controversial subject of mind control and physiological control. I'm not real sure what would motivate a human being to do this to somebody else. That, to me, is very criminal. It's very sociopathic. It's very morbid. It's very, if there's anybody that should be getting a crazy label here, I would venture to say it would be the person that's committing the crime against myself. I would never just sit around watching TV and think, hey, I'm going to go put an implant in somebody and abuse them.
The RFID chip was an idea that I was fully aware of when I worked with Walbert Bioethics, who wrote the book Operation Mind Control. I've heard of this before. This is the first time I've heard it in a federal court case issue. I want to congratulate you for doing all the steps that most people cannot do. You're part of history now. This is a much bigger picture because I think everybody deserves to understand what is really at stake.
Are you being stalked, harassed, and your privacy violated? Has your work and personal life been sabotaged or ruined and you don't know why? Are you experiencing trouble with your phone, email, and internet services? Are you being denied help from governing and city officials? You are not alone.
As many as one person per 100 are being targeted in North America.
Same tactics get thrown on this list and
technological and community-based harassment. Gang stalking, or group stalking, groups of people stalking an individual.
street harassment.
This is exactly what is happening to me.
My name is James Walbert. I am from Wichita, Kansas. I am a targeted individual for the gain of intellectual properties. In the year 2004, I was responsible for the very first order of protection issued against illegal tracking technologies, illegal human tracking, as well as any and all energized devices designed to track the human nervous system or affect the human nervous system. My claims have been backed up by famous private investigators, as well as famous toxicologists, congressional member, state representative of the House of Missouri, Jim Guest, as well as congressional member Todd Tiehart. My story has been published in 50,000 magazines and 14 times sold on newsstands. I've had several interviews with State Representative Jim Guest and several congressional members doing radio shows with him, as well as my issue is addressing House bills that are consistent with Alaska Senate Bill 293, Colorado House Bill 1082, Missouri House Bill 550, which has now moved into Missouri House Bill 2041, New Hampshire House Bill 686, North Dakota House Bill J020, Ohio Senate Bill 126, California Senate Bill 362, which now has been made into California Civil Penal Code 52.7, as well as Georgia Senate Bill 235, State of Oklahoma, State of Tennessee, the State of Virginia, the State of Washington, Wisconsin. These House bills address the concerning issue of illegal drugging and implantation of a tracking chip for any reason, to whether an employer would coerce you into taking one or whether somebody was to force you to take one. This issue is very prevalent. Obviously, we have now 21 states that have moved to enact laws against this, Senate bills and House bills. They're enacting these laws to address the problem of illegal drugging and chipping and tracking. This seems to be a very prevalent problem in our country today. I work with thousands of victims across the country as well as across the world that are suffering from these instances. My evidence can be backed up by famous private investigator William J. Taylor, as well as Melinda Kidder, State Representative Jim Guest, Congressional Member Todd Tiehart, Dr. Hector Fernandez, as well as the famous Dr. John Hall, and several other famous individuals. You can find my story on the internet, as well as many court cases. Would go back to the year 2009, where I was very successful in proving to the Sedgwick County courts. It would be case 08DM8264. That would be the court docket number for the case. That case addresses technologies that previously that have never been addressed. The case actually has issued a protection order against any and all energized devices designed to track the human nervous system, to disrupt the human nervous system, or to affect the human nervous system. So in essence, I was able to prove that the fictitious weapons that are being claimed about today from other targeted individuals are more than likely a relevant concern. Not only are they relevant, we also have people that are experiencing drugging, tracking, chipping, as well as people being gang stalked, people breaking into their homes. These are illegal, erroneous acts against us. We're being tried and basically sought out for our personal properties. I became a victim in 2004 with threats of handing over intellectual properties, or that I would simply be discredited from the crime that I'm suffering from by just simply reporting the crime. What my goal is, by addressing any congressional members, is that for these laws to be revised and as well as enacted and enforced. It was our Senate as well as our houses that passed these laws. I'm asking for implementation of these laws, for them to be enforced. These laws, people are reporting these crimes and nothing is being done. These people are being labeled erroneously. They've done nothing wrong. They are simply just reporting the crime as instructed. So upon reporting the crime, a lot of them are stripped of evidence, their homes are broken into, and they're stalked off their jobs. They're usually discredited by any point of relevant matter that has to do with an authoritative figure of any kind. In 2010, I had spoke to the Bioethics Committee the President Obama had appointed to basically go over illegal, non-ethical medical testings that had been occurring in the United States as well as out of the United States, but that were responsible by the United States. I was flown out to Washington, D.C. I spoke in front of the Bioethics Committee. They were appointed by President Obama. I spoke directly to them for 2 minutes even, and I was able to address several very important issues. I was able to point out if there was no point of concern for these targeted individuals' claims of being illegally drugged and implanted, then why were there 21 states enacting House bills against these particular claims? I found it to be very compelling as well as very concerning. The fact that they were able to just easily dismiss this and is such a state of not caring. I mean, that's basically what we have been seeing. Even the Bioethics Committee seemed to be very empty and very cold-hearted about it. They didn't really seem to address much of the evidence that any of us were presenting. And the evidence that I'm able to present, like I had stated, to reiterate, these are not letters from my next-door neighbor. These are letters that have been issued from congressional members, legislative members, famous private investigators. These are medical doctors making these claims. Clinical psychologists are vouching for me. PhD psychologists are also standing up in my corner. I also have several court cases that I've won against the technology. So again, I come up back to the concerning conclusion that are we suffering from government corruption? I mean, are these targeted individuals, including myself, are we victims of non-consensual illegal military testing, and we are just simply being denied any due process, any judicial relief of any kind, as well as any recognition of validity? Anything that we say is simply dismissed. It seems to be pushed aside. So it's a very concerning subject for myself.
Mr. James Walbert.
My name is James Walbert. To date, I have one of the strongest cases documented of these unethical violations against our society.
Due to the facts of having the kinds of professionals that I have involved with this case, I have been able to prove that this crime against others and myself is real and shows reason to be concerned with. I am in hopes that I am able to prove the same thing to this committee. And by the introduction of the evidence that I have to introduce to the committee, I and the professionals that are standing with myself in this crime would like for this committee to consider the introduction of these documents with the growing concern of this crime to the President for his review. With these hopes in mind for this consideration, I would also like to ask of this committee to consider an investigation into these unethical violations of others and myself that are affected by this crime. With this consideration of this investigation request into these matters, I would also like to point out the abuses of children that have been documented by the many professionals that I am currently working with into these matters of this crime. To date, the professionals have been documenting these offenses against the children that are related to the many victims of these crimes. They have proven this concern to be valid, as I am pointing out to this committee, the growing concern of fellow states that have now passed laws against forced chipping of an RFID tracking chip. These states that have now passed such bills into law: Colorado House Bill 071082, North Dakota Senate Bill 2415, Oklahoma State Senate Bill 47, House Bill 072092, Missouri House Bill 550, Pennsylvania Bill, Georgia Senate Bill 235, and the list just goes on. I was also wanting to ask if I could provide a portfolio of introduction of 12 professionals from political support to medical investigations, as well as private investigative support to the committee as well for review.
May, thank you very much.
Thank you. Right on.
Mr. Marshall or Mrs. Marshall?
Good afternoon. My name is Connie Marshall. I'm a former mayoral candidate from Louisville, Kentucky. I have never been involved in any criminal activity. I found a document in my bank account that said, "Problem with Kentucky government. Check federal government paperwork and file before releasing information to anyone." I am an 8-year victim survivor of assaults by directed energy weapons. The torture I've experienced consists of body overheating, body extremely cold, seizures, heart pain, earaches, itching behind eyes, burning behind eyes, swelling, headaches, involuntary movement of my limbs, exhaustion, speeding and heart racing, hair coming out by the handfuls as if I've had chemotherapy, mind paralysis, being hypnotized or placed in a trance-type state, being tracked by a drone or satellite, controlled dreams, sleep deprivation, V2K, which is voice to skull, projected sound, extreme muscle spasms, and extreme muscle cramps, being made to fall down, blue circles around the pupils of my eyes, and I'm here and you can look at them if you like, low-frequency noises in my home, high-frequency noises in my home, sexual stimulation. Numerous electrical appliances in my home are destroyed: 4 computers, 2 fax machines, 7 telephones, 4 CD players, VCR, DVD players, electrical igniter switch on my furnace, washer and dryer, air conditioner. Also, my car radio, CD player, and engine were destroyed. I am watched in my home 24 hours a day and followed around everywhere I go, though I do not have a criminal history. When I ran for mayor of my town, I was also attacked at debates and forums. My website is www.justiceforallcitizens.com. Thank you. And I would like to leave these flyers with you all as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Sina Rayan. I am an Iranian American, been living here since 1976. To answer the question to the chair lady that if it's still going to happen or it's still going on, I will assure you that it's still experimentation going on, and one of live standing right here. I strongly believe that I have been targeted for the experimentation of a brain research since September 2008. Without my consent, they are controlling my mind and using electronic remote control device to send instruction. In the past 2.5 years, I have been subjected to constant electric shock, a sleep disturbance, a sleep deprivation, short but severe localized pain in my various parts of my body, telephone and bell rings in my ears, heat waves through my body, horrifying dreams, creating sudden fear and worries in my mind. They do these mostly when I am inside my apartment, but sometimes some of this happens when I'm outside without I'm seeing anybody or any device. These experimentations are done to me without any touch or anything, see anybody. This inhuman and painful method of torture include reading my thought and memories. Through this, they have been able to control me and subject me to severe pain that I have been suffering for the past 29 months. My health has deteriorated during this time, and I have no medical insurance to seek medical help. My life is in danger, and I need your help from the government. I am only asking them to stop this painful torture and leave me alone so I can go back to my life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. John Hall.
My name is Dr. John Hall. I'm a medical doctor from Texas. As I understand the memorandum from the President, it's for you to determine if current legislation is adequate in protecting individuals and if there's any ongoing experimentation. In reviewing the common rule, it's very obvious that there's a lot of loopholes to informed consent. All of the horrific experiments you've mentioned, Willowbrook, MKUltra, radiation experiments, mostly were done without informed consent. They were funded by the DoD and intelligence agencies, where I'm not even so sure you would know if there's an IRB, much less if an IRB is looking at informed consent. As a physician, relative to some of what you're hearing today, in the community, we are seeing an alarming rate of complaints of use of electromagnetic weapons, microwave auditory effects, silent sound spectrum, EEG cloning, which has taken the lab out of the laboratory and into the home. Most of these, from the research that we reviewed, can be done remotely. It seems to be more weapons research than medical research. I personally corresponded with upwards of 1,500 victims, all complaining of identical complaints from every state in the nation of being exposed to electromagnetic radiation, non-ionizing radiation for the use of cognitive control or behavior control. I've submitted a paper to you, and there's another paper submitted to each member from another physician in Kansas City alluding to the same thing.
Thank you.
Mrs. Hall?
I would like to refer my time back to Dr. Hall. Can I?
Okay. Mr. No, it's okay. Mr. Millicent Black. Oh, madam.
My name is Millicent Black. I'm from Tennessee, possibly transgenerational person whose family members have been used for at least 3 generations, and I'm the second one. My dad possibly was the first one who was admitted to a Nashville hospital with a pineal gland tumor, left there with a plate in the back of his head, not the front of his head where his pineal gland would have been. At his death, before his death, I sought legal counsel for some horrendous treatment he had received at a nursing home that was also partnering with that hospital in Nashville, only to find out that a judge told the attorneys to drop that case. I am a part of the group that's here today representing those who are receiving the electromagnetic torture, and even my daughter at 5 months old was referred to that same Nashville hospital after having been refused treatment at the local hospital. I believe she is also a victim of the electromagnetic torture. Where does it stop? When are we given our rights as humans and as citizens? Does being African Americans qualify us as non-black or non-white and non-American citizens or non-American people? We seem to have a double bind going.
Thank you.
Mr. Alan Hornsblum.
My name's Alan Hornblum. I'm a Philadelphia-based author who has written books on things running the gamut from organized crime to Soviet espionage. But for the purposes of this meeting, I've written 2 books on the history of using prison inmates as test subjects. You may be familiar with one or both of them. I'm working with a couple colleagues now on the history of using institutionalized children as test subjects for research, and I can assure you some of the material I'm finding is quite astounding, including the fact that Nobel Prize winners went to institutions for the feeble-minded to use them as test subjects. And in interviewing people over the years, not just test subjects, which I do on a regular basis, but also the doctors who initiated these experiments, these clinical trials. I'm talking about people like Konstantin Melektos and Albert Kligman and Hillary Kroprowski, Chester Southam, some of the top researchers of the 20th century. Most of them are famous and some are infamous. It's remarkable that almost all of them articulate how little medical ethics was taught in medical schools at the time. And I had to bring up, I had to educate one of them, in fact, about the Nuremberg Code. When I mentioned it, he wasn't even familiar with it. These problems with regard to medical ethics are still there. I periodically give talks at universities and med schools, and it's stunning to me that when I go into a bookstore at the university and go in, maybe I'll see one of my books there. Of course, I'm a little bit disturbed when they don't, but I also don't see anything by Harriet Washington or by James Jones, Bad Blood, or by Jonathan Moreno's book. Medical ethics is an orphan in today's medical arena. It is out there in left field. They really de-emphasize it, and that's part of the continuing problem that doctors, as Dan said earlier, when they do these studies, it's a cost-benefit analysis, and there's much more benefit to doing research, even when it breaks rules and laws and cuts corners, than by following the rules. And that's why I believe the Commission has to make a very strong condemnation of Dr. Cutler and the institutions and doctors that he worked with, not just with regard to Tuskegee and Guatemala, but there are so many other incidents and events out there. As Susan said, we will continue to discover these. There will be another commission like yours in 10 years going over what you didn't look at or what you didn't do. So I would encourage you to be as aggressive as possible, not just describe what happened, but really condemn those who broke the law, because there's doctors making decisions right now, and those decisions are going the wrong way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Deborah Poulsen or Deborah Paulson.
Hi, I'm Deborah Paulson from Kenosha, Wisconsin. I'm going to refer to a paper from Professor McCoy at the University of Wisconsin on no-touch torture. He talks about a total assault on all senses and sensibilities, auditory, visual, tactile, temporal, temperature, and survival, refined through years of practice. Sensory disorientation relies on a mix of sensory overload and sensory deprivation via banal procedures, isolation, then intense interrogation, heat and cold, light and dark, noise and silence, for a systematic attack on all human stimuli. I've been a human subject for experimentation for almost 2 years, and I've contacted Dr. Hall. I stand with a very large group. Excuse me, I'm very nervous, but I'm very tired of having my rights taken away. And thank you for hearing me, and thank you for the others. I would like some help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Lisa Becker.
Thank you. My name is Lisa Becker. I am also from Wisconsin. I have been a non-consenting test subject in military medical research. I, too, believe my experience is referred to as no-touch torture, utilizing defense technologies. Jonathan Moreno, he basically predicted all this a number of years ago in his book Undue Risk. I'm asking you to help initiate a congressional investigation. We've all come a long way. This is what is needed. We want to have the accounts of this extreme human rights abuse that's going on in our country documented and heard, all of the accounts. We also need what was done during the Clinton administration, which is a major declassification of some of these documents that are hiding what's been going on. I speak for many when I say we've suffered long enough. My personal experience has been 10 years. I've been vilified. I've been ostracized. I've been tortured. I have burns on my body. I'm an American. I have rights. The answer to the question, the big question today, could it happen today? The answer is yes, it is happening today. It is happening for some of us every day. I am begging for you to help us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Tammy Battaglia.
Hi, my name's Tammy Battaglia. I've been enrolled in psychological experiments on the record since the age of 13 without my consent. I've spent many years recovering from experimental hypnosis, physical and biological testing that I've undergone during decades of tests conducted by government-funded doctors, corporate think tanks, and researchers. I've experienced tremendous loss and trauma over the years of subjection to non-consensual experimentation, which has been devastating to my life. The people conducting experiments on other human beings do not consider the horribly destructive ramifications that they're subjecting victims to. As a result, there is no rehabilitation after experiments. No consideration is given to the often severe psychological and physical trauma suffered by non-consensual test subjects almost continuously. Many victims, such as myself, are diagnosed with non-existent mental illnesses, and as a result, we are expected to take dangerous medications that we do not need. There's no way to seek justice for what we've endured because in America, the land of the free, justice is not free. The experiments violate every right imaginable and offer no restitution whatsoever. If myself or any other victim approaches law enforcement or government agencies, we're spurned and in some cases forcibly taken to mental institutions. I've not consented to be experimented on by any branch of the government, military, or members of the American Medical Association. The initial experiments unfolded from decisions that were made for me when I was a child, at a time when I was unable to understand what I was being volunteered for or what the consequences would be. I deserve to be vindicated and released from these experiments immediately, as do all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Rose Gopinski.
Amy, I love your question of us to try to figure out what the big problem is, to really analyze and get to the root of it. And I thought at first it was containment, which leads to things like false flags to confuse people. It leads to harassing people to discredit them, disable them, the TIs, that is, the victims. It leads to possible corruption, the secrecy, possible fear of going to prison on the people that are, on the part of the people that are executing these things. And then I realized underneath the containment, the secrecy dash containment umbrella, is a really glaring inability of the U.S. to ever apologize for anything. To be able to just say, I'm sorry. The rest of the world is waiting for us to say, I'm sorry, or I admit to something. I have flaws. Everyone does. And when it, contrary to the Pentagon myth that you should not do that to be strong, contrary to that myth, it makes a person stronger. Therefore, it will also make a country stronger. Other countries would very much appreciate it. Say, I'm sorry, 2 seconds of silence, and then we can go on with life.
Thank you.
Mr. Jeremy Radlar.
My name is Jeremy Radlow.
I'm here to tell you that non-consensual human experimentation is happening in the United States today. I've been the subject of this experimentation for more than 5 years. Calling these activities experimentation is truthful but possibly distracting. I think the criteria governing the selection of experimentees will prove to be a much bigger scandal than the experimentation itself. The psychological torture protocol that's part of the so-called experimentation includes, but is not limited to, the use of non-lethal weapons and mind-invasive technology. Sleep deprivation, pain center stimulation, and worse are used against subjects. While some experimentees have found foreign objects in their bodies suggesting implantation, most have not. Receiverless mind-invasive technology has been demonstrated under laboratory conditions, but the most likely explanation is that experimentees are implanted with foreign objects either too small to appear on commercially available scanning equipment or designed to be indistinguishable from the surrounding tissue. These activities are highly deceptive, use clandestine technology, and have the fingerprints of the CIA all over them. It's unreasonable to expect isolated individuals receiving this treatment to furnish proof. A thorough investigation is warranted. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutman to begin today. There is new work for the Commission for Human Subject Protection on our shores. And please give us a dramatic response, Susan, and please give us a congressional hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Miriam Snyder.
Hello, my name is Miriam Snyder. I'm an educator, minister, human rights advocate. I work with many people that have suffered the ramifications of unregulated, deadly human research experimentation. Since I've brought this to the public, I've become a victim too. In fact, in the past I was. I have 3 questions I would like the Commission to answer, and then I'd like to submit some recommendations so that we do not have to go through this type of forum of listening, and then we have to rush this serious assassination program. Human research experimentation is being used to assassinate innocent people, and I think it's time that it takes much more than 2 minutes to rush up. I resent it. I spent my time, I listened, and I asked that you listen. Foremost, since Guatemala and Tuskegee experiments, it is understood that human research experimentation via particularly injections on innocent people is understood that these things are going on. I would like the Commission to address what is being done to stop the continuance of non-verifiable injections being used on people. I'd like to know the Commission to address what penalties and protections are in place for researchers, the incarceration of researchers who create deadly weapons and viruses. What is going to be done to stop the deadly created man-made viruses getting out the laboratory to human bodies? And when are we going to start incarcerating researchers? All right? Number 3, who supervises energy technology? Specifically, electronic torture. That is a major issue. Just hold on. I waited 2 days. Electronic torture. All of these people are here talking about they are being tortured. They are in a slow kill program via radiation. The cleft lip babies are coming out through radiation programs. The studies show it. I've submitted documentation. We have cleft lip babies because of unregulated radiation studies. What is going to be done to stop this? These people are suffering because of unregulated radiation studies, human research experiments, and the funding is immense, and people are dying. What's going to be done to stop it? Okay. With respect to neuroimaging, I found a tremendous amount of research regarding injection-induced seizures. Why is human research allowing experiments that allow injection-induced seizures? And through electronic technology. Now, what my recommendation? I would hope that this committee could launch a specific committee to address these issues with human rights experts, genocide specialists, people who have studied mass murders, that it's understood that these things do happen, okay, through genocide, and I can give you a list of people that have documentaries on this, and to investigate the citizen complaints regarding mind control weapons, in particular energy technology via satellite, induced seizure via satellite, microwave auditory effect weapon, all government-sponsored psychological operations, microchipping through injections. Above all, we seek the creation of a means for injections to be verified before entering the human body, and prosecution for anyone using these deadly tactics to harm the people. And we seek compensation for all the victims who have filed affidavits after affidavit documenting the atrocities involved with unregulated and deadly human research experimentation that they have suffered as a direct result of these criminal human research and the people, the whistleblowers who have exposed this. Thank you very much. And please have a forum where we don't have to do this rush up. I waited 2 days, and I don't like being rushed like this. I really don't.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Nigel Nicholson.
Hi, good evening. My name is Nigel Nicholson, and I have been in a psychological coercive mind control program. This started in 2002, where I was falsely arrested, I was drugged, and I believe I was hypnotized. Soon after that, I was being harassed by the police department, along with noise campaign that was being committed by the New York City Fire Department. I mean, for a whole year, every time I left my house, I was bombarded with noise, which led me to have a psychological breakdown. I've been job mobbed. I've been put into what I call a assassination type program. Okay, I have been villainized. My friends has totally retreated from me, even though I have continuously reached out to them. Okay, I have been under what I believe is neuro monitoring. When I can think of something and go outside and somebody will walk by me and repeat what I just said, I know I'm not crazy. Okay, regardless of what is being said, they make the victims of these programs to be diagnosed with a psychological illness to hide these crimes, because we all know that to discredit an individual, if you give them a mental illness or diagnose them with a mental illness, no one is going to believe us. No one is going to believe you or I. And this is how they are hiding these crimes.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Micheline Jones. Micheline.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Micheline Jones. I'm right here from D.C. I live in public housing, and I mention that because this is where most of the poor people are at, especially these days with the way the economy is going. I am the subject of MK Ultra, mind control. I am also the subject of electromagnetic radiation, and I have many videos to prove it. I've taken these videos to newspapers and to various places, even including, CDC, and everyone has just turned away as if this is hush-hush. I've had lawyers deny me assistance because they said this is too big. So in research, I found out that the former Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney asked for a reinvestigation under her resolution HR 1026 to reinvestigate COINTEL activities. I am constantly stalked. There's many covert activities that have followed me. Sleep deprivation, I don't have that too much now because I force myself, clocks, radios, too much liquids at nights, whatever, just to get up and get out the house. I've asked public housing from the executive director all the way down to fair hearing, which is still pending right now, to get me out of this place. But now I'm beginning to wonder, would it do any good? I've relocated 3 or 4 times, and I had a deputy officer or a county officer tell me this will follow you. So when they pick their subjects, this goes with you. I would like all of this medical abuse to be investigated, and if possible for you to get back with us. I didn't know about this meeting until yesterday, and I do appreciate your letting me have this time to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones.
Mr. Timothy White.
I'd like to thank the Commission for allowing the public to address these issues. And it's been a lot of information, and it's been very good and enlightening. And I see I'm in the right place to provide the information I have. And yes, the Tuskegee experiments are still going on, and the Guatemala experiments are still going on. But they're going on because of the advances in the signals technology and in cognitive neurological technology and neurophysiological experimentation and research. And the advances in that technology is allowing these things to happen and creating a new class of vulnerabilities for citizens who cannot protect themselves against this. Okay, we provide citizens who are currently non-consensual victims of cognitive neuroscience and neurophysiological research and experimentation, which is enabled remotely through extreme low-frequency computer-to-brain entrainment technology. This technology exists and can be verified on subjects with a high degree of accuracy using current neural imaging technologies. Okay, this is an atrocity that has gone on for years, and like the Tuskegee experiments, is clearly within the scope of this commission. Okay, the validity of this, if there's any doubt as to the validity of these claims, that this commission can conduct its own independent investigation by using functional brain imaging techniques. Okay, we ask that the committee, just because of the existence of our organization, Freedom for Covert Harassment and Surveillance alone, we have thousands of people who have contacted us claiming to be victims of this. The justification for our existence is justification that you should investigate this occurrence further. Okay, we need tests to determine if a citizen has been harmed by a cognitive weapon. These are cognitive weapons that somehow these people are being experimented on with. And just overall, we need to ban the unethical use of science and technology on all citizens for any form, for any reason, and in any form. Thank you.
Thank you.